Hi guys, I was recently praying with a friend of mine, and we both became aware that they naturally prayed in a way that kept them removed from actually interacting on an intimate level with God. So what this looked like was they would pray in a way that sounded like they were talking to an honorable justice of the court or some high up CEO, somebody that was very removed but powerful, somebody that deserved honor and respect, which is great in a lot of ways because God does deserve honor and respect. But where it comes to be a difficulty is that same thing that puts us in a position of honoring and respecting the Lord can actually keep us refrained from being vulnerable to Him, to being open to intimacy. As we talked through this, we realized that the most clear natural example is that if somebody very powerful comes into the room and you start to communicate with them in the way of hello sir, how are you sir, and just constantly treating them as this higher up authority, you're actually not going to engage with them on a heart level, on a relational intimacy level. But if you talk to them as though they are a normal person and you just said, "Hi, I'm Lander. This is who I am. Here's the good, the bad, and the ugly," you're actually going to open yourself up to know them and to be known by them. And that's very important because one of my favorite definitions of intimacy is "into me you see." And that goes to speak to the idea that I can only experience intimacy to the level that I'm willing to be known. So intimacy is actually allowing myself to be known and to know others inside and out. So when we want to experience intimacy with God, I really believe it's vital that we learn to talk to Him as though He's real, as though He's normal, as though He's right here. So one of my favorite exercises I ever heard about this was a pastor guy that was invited in to help coach a church leadership team, and he would have them pick up the phone and call God. And the second that they would start talking in a way that wasn't really authentic to who they are, he would hang up the phone and say, "Try again," which is pretty harsh in a lot of ways, but it really drives the point home that here's the deal. God knows what's going on in our hearts. So if we're talking to Him in a way that isn't authentic to who we are, isn't how we would talk to, our neighbor or our best friend or our husband or our wife or whatever, if we're talking in a way that's super foreign to that, God actually knows that that's not authentic to us. He knows what's going on inside of us. So if you're afraid of displaying that to God, well, I've got news for you. He already knows. He knows every part of us. So let's just feel invited to actually display the real self to Him. Now, I know it can take practice, but I really do want to encourage you to practice that, to practice talking to God as though He's real, as though He's right here, as though He's normal. He's not like a super distant acting president or some aristocrat that can't relate to you. He knows everything that's going on inside of you, and He can relate to it. So he knows what it's like. He can relate to your feelings, to your insecurities, to your questions. He knows what that's like, and He is very, very willing to get to know you. He loves to get to know you. He wants to get to know you. And I really think that's so important for transitioning from having God as just the one that we worship and into having God be our love, the love of our life, the one we actually desire to get to know, the one that we find our every bit of love that we could ever want in Him. And when we engage with Him that way, we get to love people out of an overflow rather than a deficit. It's like we don't need to go get love from everybody. We actually get to love from an overflow because we actually feel and experience love from God. So that's my encouragement to you this week, is to practice interacting with God as though he's real and as though he's normal and as though he actually wants to get to know you. Bless you. Have a great week.